Does is catch the football. That is beautiful. That's why I came to West Virginia, man.
Ding dong, the witch is dead in Arizona.
It's a totally energized Heinz Field, the power of the Renegade song.
The backyard brawl, man, against Pitt. Look at that. Oh, there's Ron Wolfley.
Wow! They came after Donovan McNabb. Went after him. They played to win the game.
Everybody's going bonkers, even the referees.
Oh, those look like some sticky gloves right there. We talk about 50-50. Right now it's 50-50. Who's going to get it?
Game came with cover zero. Man across the board.
Pick up a flag because, hey, and then with the Renegade song, even flags don't count.
He's going to get an Italian army behind him right there, just like Franco Harris.
My goodness, that is pure guts.
Give me a pepperoni roll, man. And the three wolves of football, the boys from Orchard Park, the outsiders, is brought to you by our great friends, Parmar Stores. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be one soon.
Hi, my name's Zach Frazier, and I'm from Fairmont, West Virginia. And when I'm back at home in Fairmont, you'll find me at my local Parmar store.
We had that golden boot pride at Parmar. There are literally hundreds of Parmar stores in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and even more on the way. Download the Parmar app to save even more. And whether it's food, gas, groceries, or whatever, we have you covered at Parmar. West Virginia proud and ready to serve you.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Hello, and welcome to the Three Wolves of Football. I hope you are all doing well. I know that we are with eldest brother Craig Wolfley. There you go, Craig. There you are, man.
Yeah.
Up there in the terrain, and we got Ron Wolfley there, the middle brother. How you doing there, Pony?
You know what's always doing well, man. Upright and walking. Thank you, Lord God.
There you go.
Amen.
Right off the bat. So we are the Three Wolves of Football. We are the boys from Orchard Park, and we certainly are the outsiders. And it's a good week for some, maybe not so much for others, but I think they're going to find some good things going on here. Some hope is in the air. Maybe they'll call the show the Hope in the Air. But regardless, what I want to get to first is, it's whether it's, did you really do that? Is it the stupid brother of the week? Is it the mulligan? You want to do that over? Well, this week, I have to start out with it because it makes me laugh. It makes me feel good. And this week, honestly, we're going with the mulligan. And do you want to do it over Derry?
Oh, baby. Let me see.
Double down or do it over?
Oh, I want to double down. Just double. I'm feeling lucky tonight. Let's double down.
Okay. Well, listen, man. I'm sorry, but this is going to be a mulligan ever since the beginning of the show last week. So we're going to have to roll with this. Now, if you're in the audience, you're just listening and you're not watching, as Brother Craig last week decided to have a background that was floral next to his floral shirt. Okay, so let's roll it. We are the Three Wolves of Football. We are the boys from Orchard Park, and we are the outsiders. Okay, Terry, I got you. I can see, when you change your background. I think you doubled down there, man. What's the deal, brother? Did you decide to go Hawaiian and say, listen, we need to, go ahead and get that backdrop right there? Well, what's up?
Well, there's a couple things. Number one, it takes me back to when Dad was looking at me one time when we were kids, and he looked at me and says, "Can't fix stupid." I'm like, why are you looking at me, Dad? But then, as I grew older, one of the things I've come to love is Hawaiian shirts. Because listen to me, and this is a factoid, fellas, that I found out over the years. The party doesn't get started until some fat guy shows up in a Hawaiian shirt. So there you go.
So you are truly going to be the party guy. Although, and I think you've done a pretty good job of holding your weight down there for the most part. Maybe Faith would think differently. What do you think, Pony Boy?
Yeah, I totally agree. First of all, I want to say a couple of things right here, Craig. Number one, I love the backdrop that you have up there right now because it looks like you're in the Appalachian Mountains somewhere in some cabin. And you can still actually see the flower print as well. You don't have your camera rolled out, so you can actually still see the print behind it.
I got my ninjas. They said, try to
were,
dull down the background. And then, you know what? It just didn't work.
And the fact you still haven't fixed your tooth, dude. You're like,
this is a season-long thing, baby, right there. I'm learning how to whistle like you can't believe.
This is seriously, roll that deliverance music right now.
Our fearless leaders, we are the outsiders, man. There's no doubt. Well, listen, hey, Pony Boy, let's not put all the attention there on Jerry, because this past week, somebody turned 60 years old and wasn't ready because you had a whole collage of people wishing you happy birthday. I didn't know you had that many people that liked you.
Yeah. No, Soda Pop. I knew nothing about it. Yes, I turned 60. No longer fat and 59. By the way, guys, I've lost 26 pounds. Taste it, man. Just taste it right there. It's amazing what happens when you burn more calories than you're taking in.
Okay.
You have a tendency of losing weight.
But with that being said, you can listen.
Or should we ask Craig Wolfley and Dale Wolfley too? I mean, I feel like they should have a say in this, right? They're both joining us on the Arizona Sports Line right now.
Oh my goodness, guys. Good morning, my brothers.
Happy birthday, bro. And I'm not going to bother you with a song because you know that we are a family of wailers. You know, we are the family everybody in church sits away from, so that when we're singing, that they think that they're singing with us.
Oh my goodness, that's it. Soda Pop, are you there?
I just got one thing to say, a message I want to share with all the Basinonians and my crunk brothers. Happy birthday, Pony Boy. You're 60 years old, man.
And you guys, thank you for the dive bomb. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Next time,
please. What we do, man.
Yeah, I know. We do. Well, let me know so I can slide the protective cup in next time, please.
Okay, so we dive bombed you at your place of work, but we were not the only ones. I'm telling you. You had Dave Pash. You had all the people that were important out there wishing you a big old happy 60 there, Pony Boy. So
really, honestly, Soda Pop, knew nothing about it. And Aaron Maloney, who is the producer of the Wolf and Luke show, and future star in the radio industry. She put that together, and the work she actually did on that, I got to tell you guys, off the charts. So just want to say thank you to Erin Maloney once again. I call her Mal, as in Keith Millard. Don't ask about the connection. It just gets so strange, but it's so funny because Keith Millard, of course, was called Mal. So I gave her that nickname for the exact same reasons that Keith Millard had the nickname Mal. Okay, but it was great, man, and I appreciate you guys joining us.
Did you get Hoopy on there?
Oh, yeah. Hoopy came on, Craig. I cannot tell you how many people commented to me about Mom and just listening to Mom. And you guys know that every day, so if you just heard Hoopy for the first time on air with me, you think to yourself, man, this woman is putting this on, right?
Right.
There's no way. It was every day of our lives. That's who she was. And that's one of the reasons why we love her as much as we do.
Amen to that.
Okay, we love you, Hoopy, and we're going to keep this moving because she's going to be watching this 10 times.
Yes.
She's going to hear
least. That's before this
love
gets
you,
like a day old.
Absolutely. So let's get on because we're the three wolves of football. So let's move on in to what I thought was some really cool weekend stuff with the Tennessee Alabama game. Some old school stuff really fired up there. And got a couple things I want to show you. But the first one is this. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but enjoy it if you haven't. The Tennessee offensive lineman out there, not only does he vomit in front of national TV, but he vomits in front of the Alabama guys, and he looks at it like it's intimidation. And he's using intimidation to Alabama saying, yeah, I'm vomiting. I like it.
That is awesome right there. I just got to say this quickly, Soda Pop. You got to play this again, man. Just play this guy barfing again because honestly, to your point, don't let this fly over your head. I've never seen a guy do this. where he turned towards his opponent, projectile vomited, and then started talking trash.
Yeah.
He projectile vomited, and the head started going up and down like, you see it? You see it? I vomit, and now I'm going to kick your face in. He's literally talking trash to them as they're breaking the huddle. I mean, this is legendary as far as I'm concerned right here. And let me also say this quickly. Back when I played, there was a guy by the name of Lawrence Taylor. Anyone listening right now that knows anything about football knows everything about Lawrence Taylor. Simply the greatest defensive football player ever to live. Maybe the best football player, in my opinion, ever to live, period. There were many guys who would throw up before they played Lawrence Taylor, especially if it was a nationally televised game.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'll just give you a really quick vomit story. Maryland, hottest day of my entire life. I think I dehydrated that day and locked up with Craig. I know you've done that many times.
Yeah.
That day in Maryland, Jeff Price, the center, starts throwing up over the ball. And I'm right next to him, so he's splashing on the ball. And then the nose guard starts throwing up. Okay, so they're going at each other badly. And Major Harris, our quarterback, sister, says, I'm not taking that snap. And he goes, and he finally had to, and so he didn't get the penalty. He gets up, he goes, okay, ready? He did it in slow motion, man. Instead of, no, it was the vomit came up, flashed at him, and he handed it off for a touchdown the Major Harris way. But again, you know what? There's stories like that happens during the conflict, getting the heat going on. And I just thought it was so cool that he was there, and he was like, yeah, man, I just did that, and I'm coming at you.
That's unbelievable.
That's pretty good. Well, continuing on that whole theme, watching that Alabama-Tennessee game and seeing that crowd, and at the end, you saw them go ahead and tear down the goalposts, and look at that crowd on the field. That felt like an old school game. It was an instant classic. Maybe not the score so much with the 52-49, but it was, you know what, man, this is a rivalry. This is good for college football, and that's what I really thought about it. Derry, and you go back to your days of school, I don't know if I've seen college football and the old school way it was, that Alabama-Tennessee matchup, man. Well, what's your thoughts?
Well, it was tremendous, and it's a great rivalry, absolutely. I mean, you've lost, 15 years in a row that Tennessee took it on the chin from Alabama. That when you're able to have a real rivalry, and you can't have a real rivalry if you've been beaten 15 times in a row. I mean, you got to, at some point in time, you got to break through. Well, they broke through. All right. And so you got a great opportunity here to really kickstart for Tennessee, maybe getting a run here, doing some good stuff. It's funny because I was actually recruited a very little bit by Tennessee way back in the day. All I remember was, just getting some letters from them and some calls, met with the guy or something. But, wasn't really anything much. But you know what, Tennessee, you got to like it. A good friend of mine is Ramon Foster, who played guard for the Steelers for a number of years, in the new millennia here. And, not back in the day in my time. And he's a real Rocky Top booster, and he's a radio guy down there. And I know he's just absolutely, if he could do flips, he would, but he's a little too heavy to do flips.
Yeah, for me too, just watching the game, guys, a great game, obviously. Not my brand of football. It just really is not. 52-49 right now. I love the struggle. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but for me, I love the struggle. It should be hard to play the game of football. It should be difficult to move the ball down the field. I love a great punt, and suddenly the defense, backing up an offense into the brown zone with the punt, and the defense coming out and stuffing the offense. Field position where it matters. Every play is critical. Nobody can make a mistake. It's a struggle to move the ball. I happen to enjoy that. You give me a 21-17 game. You give me a 20-14 game. You give me a competition where it's a struggle in all three phases, and I'm okay with that.
Okay, well,
no question.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I'm going to sit there and say, hey, man, that was 52-49. It was guys making plays left and right, doing what they had to do to win the game. So I agree with you. I like old school like that. But again, you get a high-scoring game like that just going because these are young men. These are young men, and on any given day, anybody can win, and that's been proven out. So I can go with all of it. Go ahead, Derry.
Well, think about this, though. I mean, there's a transition point here. I loved the 14 to 10 game, the 17-14. I love the standing across from each other and finding out who's going to be the better man 3 hours later. You know what I mean? Because there's two scoreboards. There's one for the fans, and then there's one for you and personally. You're one-on-one with whoever you're playing against. And those are the things that I found so attractive about football, that violence inherent in the game and the fact that you have the one-on-one encounters and everything else. But one of the distressing moments came to me, and I remember this was a number of years ago, because you've got these spread offenses all over the place. And sure, I understand there is excitement with, the sort of, pinball wizard type of scoring that accompanies this. But, when they would get to the low red zone, I'm talking about from the 1 to 3, 4 yard line, right? And then you see a walk-in touchdown with nobody even hit the ground. No, are you kidding me? I mean, the goal line, the art of the offensive lineman on goal line was turning the head and marinating the ribs with your knees, cross-face that guy, move his head. You turn his head, the body follows, and then you get the wedge up in there. It was punishing. It was brutal. It was archaic, and it was wonderful. It was just an awesome time of football.
And the only thing I want to say quickly here is, the football universe, once again, is suffering from a lot of fantasy football players. And I'm just telling you right now, you're ruining the game, because basically you've got the NFL the NFL is changing the rules of the game to fit fantasy football, and I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we get back to the NFL, let's do one more thing in college, because I really want to talk about the transfer portal, because it's so easy to go ahead and get out of where you're at. So easy to get out of tough circumstances. And I know we've all had stories, and, I'm going to go with you, the oldest, Derry, because when you went to Syracuse, man, right out of Orchard Park, out of OP, it was not the easiest thing for you, though, because they were expecting someone, I think, a little bit bigger, if I recall right.
Yeah. Everywhere I went, it was like people would remind me that I thought you were bigger. It was, I was not really big for a college offensive lineman. I was 6'2", 235, 240 when I got there, and it was, it was just one of those things where, it seemed like all the coaches were like, except for Jerry Angelo, who recruited me, right? And he said, I'll put this kid up against any of the guys. And, I appreciate him so much. I owe Jerry Angelo so very much. The guy was just an awesome dude and a great coach. He was also the GM of the Chicago, he was the president of the Bears at one point, I believe it was.
And he was GM too.
GM.
And so I just have a great love for Jerry. But, the other coaches were like, he's not very big. And it was just kind of, I got the feeling like some of them were like, you should send this kid home.
Well, that's the truth, brother. And the thing is that not only did you stay for training camp and you got to college, you started your freshman year, I believe, at tackle. And you eventually turned into that all-American offensive lineman at the Cuse, man. And it's like, how wrong are so many people? And I have to go with that story to Pony, because it would be easy for you to have transferred up. You were this running back, and you're going to watch me here. You used to run like this, so tall, so high. You were a tailback, and the transformation that you had to go through from running back in high school, Mr. All-Western New York, to Mr. Fullback, 2 yards in a cloud of dust. Tell us about that a little bit, because, again, I'm trying to build a theme here.
Sure. Well, first of all, I thought I was Eric Dickerson, okay? Just running straight up and down. Like, hey, look, everybody, it's a Ken doll. That's number one. Number two, when they recruited me, they didn't tell me they were going to move me to fullback. Okay, that's they didn't tell me that. They did that day 3 of training camp, by the way. Day 3 of training camp. Here I came in, and I thought, okay, man, they're going to pitch me the ball, and I'm going to run, and I'm going to get the edge with my 4.6 speed. They moved me to fullback day 3 of training camp, and I was 198 pounds. 198. Now, guys, you know the power scheme I was in at that point in time. We're talking about power. We're talking about ISO, strong and weak. We're talking about toss. We're talking about pure brutality. Wham blocks, the trap game, the belly plays, of course, but all these blocking assignments where I got in front of dudes who outweighed me by 30 pounds. 198 pounds, man. And that transition, I'll never forget, going out my freshman year into the spring, because obviously I didn't play. And that was also the year you couldn't redshirt as a freshman unless you were injured. I was not injured, so I lost my freshman year. I went out there my freshman year in the spring, where you guys know how brutal football was, and Dad was home dying. Dad was dying in bed in 45 Hudson while I was out there on the field. And I got to tell you,
so everybody knows, he had leukemia.
Yes.
He got sick my freshman year, fought it valiantly for a number of years, but eventually it got him.
And I would go out there every day, guys, and it was a turning point in my career, because all I tried to do was transfer all of the pain that I felt Dad was in and that I was in on somebody else. And if ever there was a sport where you wanted to transfer that pain on somebody else, it is the game of football, especially if you were a fullback back in 1982, 1981, where you hammered everybody in a north-south kind of way. And I used to get killed. I'd get killed out on the field, and my coach would pick me up, Paul Krasula. And this after I ran full speed into a guy and got knocked down and got up and did it again and again and again. That was a turning point, and it was used by Father God for me. It was used for my benefit, which to this day, I thank him for, because it taught me how to play the game of football and what I had and what I needed to do to play the game of football.
Well, absolutely. And here's the thing that I'm trying to build at with the perseverance of the time of your life. And for myself, I really wanted to leave my freshman year. I felt like I was an undersized offensive lineman as well. Derek, I felt it. And your coach, Mike Jacobs, the offensive coordinator, my personal coach at offensive or center and guard. He was the OC for the two 11-0 teams. He was tough as nails. And he just made me feel lousy, and like I didn't know what to do. But I hung through it, man. If the transfer portal was there, I don't know if I would have ever played in a national championship game. I don't know, Pony, if you would have been, a dude that was in the NFL killing people on special teams, or you, Derry, smacking people around as an offensive lineman in the NFL. Just because of the circumstances of now, it's so easy to leave and maybe go somewhere better. It might be there, but there's so many that don't actually even stay at the same level. And I just want to, because we are the three wolves of football, so this is a football topic that we have to think about, because there are many, many young men that are thinking the grass is greener on the other side, and because they think that they're second team and they should be first team, that they're not willing to hold out.
Well, let me just say this. One of the distressing things to me over football nowadays is hard coaching is going the way of bell bottoms and 8-track cassettes and stuff. Yep. You know what I mean? If a lot of these guys today were coached like we were back in the day, they'd be in tears. I'm sorry. It back then was a different time. And, and I think the portal now is something that makes that escapability. If you don't want to muscle up and hunker down dog and go through it, now you have an opportunity to go. And the only thing I say is you know, it always looks probably, I would say, like it's greener on the other side, right? The grass is greener, but it's not always. And it many times, most of the time, it's not. You got to stay. The struggle is worth the struggle. I would not be the person I am today if I was simply handed a position at Syracuse. It was blood, sweat, and tears, and wash, rinse, and repeat on a daily, weekly, monthly, year after year after year to get where I wanted to go. And it couldn't have had that titanic struggle that it takes to overcome adversity and the odds.
I would also say this right here, guys. To anybody that is listening right now, some young crunk brother that is out there that is possibly had the opportunity to go somewhere or has the opportunity to go somewhere right now. First of all, it's one of the reasons why the decision has got to think about your decision. You get one shot of it. Think of it that way. You got one shot. Think of all the opportunities that might be out there. If you go to a school where, okay, maybe your friends aren't going to be nearly as impressed, but maybe it's going to be a good fit for you. I think the first choice you make, you got to vet those schools, and you've got to use a lot of different variables and think of a lot of different things to pick the right school to begin with. And then from that point on, stick with it. Be convicted as to why you picked that school to go to. There should be good reasons in the first place. Stick with them.
You know what? And that's exactly what I wanted you guys to say. So thank you very much. I was going to move on to the Bills here, but actually,
but wait a minute. There was no pre-production meeting, so boom. How about that, huh?
Hey, listen, three minds that think alike, but it's a little bit different. You know, they say the Wolfleys all walk to a different beat, but we all also walk to a different beat amongst the three of us. So it's kind of unique, and it is nice to see us under one theme, one thought process for once. Like I said, I was going to go talk about my Bills, but I think this week, moving along here, because we got so in depth, I want to get right to the Steelers because this is really cool.
Long count, gets the snap. He's back. Fires for the end zone. Touchdown, Claypool. Wow. Oh, a little stop route into some zone coverage. What a great job. Mitch seen it. He just seen it, man, and he let it go. He sees it, then he does it. His see-do, as Mike Tomlin says, is terrific.
Okay, all right. And that was Derry for all you people out there listening for the Steelers. And, of course, with Claypool and Mitch Trubisky making that play. I think that was a touchdown that went ahead of the Bucs, right, for the winner. And you called it. Tell us what a see-do is.
A see-do is when you see it, then you do it, right? I mean, that's the quick reaction. You could be linebackers. It could be a quarterback. In this case, like Mitch, sighting his receiver after he moved and then being able to laser throw that ball in there and rifle the touchdown in. But you see it, you do it. So there I am. I go, you see it, you do's it, right? Well, then I was reprimanded today by the video head guy down, Bob McCartney, down in the Steelers. He goes, that ain't the Queen's English, man. What's the matter? Like, this is what you call a fine Syracuse education, kind of like crossed with maybe half a dozen concussions. That's what it is.
You know what's so funny about that? I just thought of it. So you say that because so many people like Pash, man, are getting awards for their announcing and from Syracuse, and you're just the antithesis of it all. I mean, you're the opposite, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the guy who's representing the Cuse, man, announcing and coming up with new words.
The funny thing about it, you got I can't even remember the broadcasting school there. What is it, man? It was they were so kind.
Exactly.
I know.
You didn't go to it. That much we know.
This is what short-term concussion syndrome looks like. Okay. I mean, here's the thing about it. They were very kind. They asked if they could include me in their school of broadcasting, right? And I was like, well, that would be fine. I said, but I want you to know a couple things. Number one, I never graduated. Number two, I never went to the school of broadcasting. Okay, bingo. I mean, what's the point?
Did they do it anyways, correct?
Great broadcasting school there It's just unfortunate I didn't take advantage of it when I had the opportunity.
We're gonna leave that undefined there, Pony Boy. We're not gonna put Syracuse in a bad
I
way.
do want to say one thing quickly, though, not in regard to Syracuse. Okay, the Cuse. I still root for the Cuse. I do. It's still amazing.
Undefeated
I
still.
love them. They're great.
Yeah. No. I still do. It's an amazing thing. But I want to ask you about Tom Brady. What were your thoughts of Tom Brady when you saw him? Because he doesn't look like Tom to me.
No, he was uncharacteristically inaccurate. He was throwing the ball into the dirt behind the receivers. He didn't look like he was on top of what he needed to do. Very uncharacteristic of the GOAT. Now, think about it. We had 4 of our top secondary people out. I mean, it was an unbelievable deal. We had guys playing in secondary with name tags that said, "Hi, my name is," right? So that they'd know each other. And yet they battled all day long. And for Tom Brady, I was really surprised because he was just not the guy. And I was even more surprised when it was revealed that he went to Bob Kraft's wedding, and he did that in place of being there for the walkthrough. And then you've got on the game, he gets mad at the offensive line, and he goes over and he reprimands the offensive line, which is not a problem. Nor if you're the GOAT, you get that carte blanche, okay?
Yes.
Except for if you did not show for the walkthrough. Now, I'm sorry, I don't take kindly to a quarterback getting in my face, all right, because I don't get in a quarterback's face. And frankly, I'm a little surprised that somebody would say, "Why don't you just shut up?" You know, I mean, that to me, I'm surprised. You know, Tom is the greatest of the great, no doubt about it. But the fact that you didn't come to, you know, that you decided to go by yourself to a wedding, and then, I don't know, it just didn't play right with me.
Except, of course, when the Arizona Cardinals play him on Christmas Day. Let's hope he throws 4 picks.
Well,
there you go.
Well, I was happy he lost against the Steelers, man. And which I was trying to get at before we went off on the whole thing was just a real quick breakdown, Craig, because there's so many themes going on with the 1-4 Steelers, and their backs were against the wall. And you said it with the secondary, and you had Tom Brady coming in. That's a story in itself. And of course, you got the Kenny with his first touchdown getting hurt, injured, and then Mitch has to come in, which was a bench. So again, so many things going on. Steeler land, man. Give us a little bit of a brief synopsis of what's happening.
Well, basically, think about it. You're going into the game without Minkah Fitzpatrick in the backfield as the guy that really coordinates everything from the back end. You've got your top 3 cornerbacks down. You know, it was just all set for Tom Brady to have a GOAT day. And the fact was, the week before against the Falcons, he had gone over 300 yards, which, as I said last week, you know, that was his 40th 300-yard game after he turned 40. I mean, his career is, you can't even begin to really quantify it because he has been so great for so long. So seriously, him coming in, you think, you know, you're down your reigning defensive player of the year. You've got some people nicked up like Cam Hayward, who had an elbow and an ankle, you know. There's just so many mitigating circumstances, and then your quarterback gets knocked out, you know, into the third quarter. And Mitch Trubisky, who I can't say enough about what a strong-minded, true professional he was to step into the fray, come out there and be the pro. This is what he looked like in 2018 when he was a Pro Bowler. I watched film of him in the offseason. I watched some of his games from 2018, and you know what? This is what he looked like. Strong-armed, fluid, mobile. And I can only say that, you know, it looked like the weight of the world had been lifted from him, and him coming off the bench and doing it. He was exactly what, you know, the Steelers thought they had earlier, you know, and he performed superbly.
Well, that's awesome. And I got one question for you. Is Cam Hayward, is he the backbone and the toughest dude on the Steelers? Because I admire that man greatly in his play.
You know, it's funny that you say that because, you know, Cam is the closest this city will ever see to Mean Joe Green again. Cam Hayward. Whoa. He is that. I mean, he is that dynamic. He is a consummate leader. This guy wears leadership like water wears wet. You know, I mean, it's just, inherent in his nature. Matter of fact, I call him Captain Cam all the time. It's just part of who he is. You watch this guy when he first came in, what was it, 12 years ago or so? He by the end of the first week, he had fought every offensive lineman in camp. At the end of the first week. So I'm standing there with Tunch, and I show him, I go, watch out, he might start on the alumni soon. You got my back, I got your back, okay?
Very good.
The fact is, he has really ascended to those great, rare heights of being a pro, and I can't say enough good about him. And his off the field stuff, he just finished 2 weeks ago his 7 acts of kindness. Each and every day, he promoted an act of kindness leading up to a game, and he loves Jesus, and he's just a true man of God and giver of himself to the community and to other people. And I can't say enough good things about Cam Hayward.
Strength.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, Pony Boy. So that leads us to move to the Cardinals, who did not have such a great day last Sunday against the Seahawks. And the one thing I can offer you, a little bit of a hope that gives you joy, I know, will be this.
You can't cover Duke. You're not going to be able to cover him. Throw the ball up. That's what Kyler Murray did. He extended the play with his legs and just chucked that thing up into the air. Into the desert sky, baby. And D-Hop brought it down. Touchdown.
For all of you that are listening, that was D-Hop making the final catch against the Buffalo Bills, last year. Yeah. And I still have a hard time with that. The Buffalo Bills go down. But with D-Hop coming out, he's got activated this week. How much can this help Kyler Murray and the offense of the Cardinals? Because the defense looks still pretty strong to me.
No, the defense is balling out, man. This is just inconceivable to me what has happened to this offense, boys. Coming into this season, I thought the offense was Super Bowl caliber, and looking at how many weapons they had on the offensive side of the ball, now they have been all banged up. There's no doubt about that. They've been banged up not only at the skill position, they've also been banged up, of course, on the offensive line. Rodney Hudson has missed 3 games, and Justin Pugh now, their left guard, is out. They've been all banged up, nicked up, yet at the same time, this offense has been playing horribly. And by their own admission, of course, they would tell you that. It's a situation where D-Hop coming back, I think, is going to help Kyler Murray vastly. I think it's going to help Kyler Murray in a huge way. I think this is going to be a situation where defenses, for the most part, have to align in regard to how they're going to defend DeAndre Hopkins. And because of that alignment in the secondary, you guys both know how important pre-snap read is to a quarterback. And I think it clears up a lot of the pre-snap read for Kyler Murray. I think it clarifies things, even if D-Hop does not get the ball. I mean, we all think of DeAndre Hopkins and the tangibles of DeAndre Hopkins being able to catch the ball with those massive hands he's got, being able to run routes. He's not a great route runner, guys, but he gets open all the time. Okay, so he knows how to get open. He's a guy that isn't going to run by anybody, but he's the best 50-50 ball catcher in the National Football League, in my opinion. He's more like 80-20, as a matter of fact. If you just throw it up somehow, some way, D-Hop is going to come down with the ball. And not only that, guys, he's got a swag bag that is this big. He's got swag that he brings to the field, and a confidence that he brings to the field, and a leadership that I didn't know D-Hop had. This is a guy that will walk up on anybody in the Arizona Cardinals locker room, anybody, and say, "What are you doing, man? Knock it off." This surprised me that I found this out about D-Hop. He does it with J.J. Watt. Every guy that is in that locker room has a peer, including DeAndre Hopkins. I cannot overstate how important his presence is going to be and the way that it clears up coverage for Kyler Murray. And man, I cannot wait to see what he's going to do tonight.
Yeah, so being the Saints that you're playing there on Thursday night, so what does the Cardinals have to do?
Can I just interrupt here for a second? Because did we just have a Wolfley brother refer to swag? My goodness. Come on.
Yes.
I thought we were old school here. Swag?
Well, what would you call it before?
Is real.
What would you call it before?
What's that?
The swag.
Oh, I don't know. I don't understand swag. I know when I saw Joe Green eyeball to eyeball, I felt fear. Okay. That I'll tell you. Okay. So I don't know if that's swag or if that's just plain, you understand that there's somebody here who could probably tear you apart limb by limb. Okay.
Hey, bro.
There you go.
Everyone knows you don't understand swag when you got that flowered wallpaper behind you and your tooth.
I don't do swag, bro. I don't do swag.
I love it, dude. I love it, Darren.
Yeah.
We must
got all kinds of issues. As Chuck Noll once said about a player in a press conference, he has issues and they are many.
Well, we must clarify that you actually do have a fake tooth, but it gives you a lisp, and you can't wear it when you call a Steelers game.
Absolutely. Here's the deal. The dentist sits there and he says, Craig, it'll be great. You'll look better with it. And I go, it doesn't matter. I'm on the radio. Who cares?
Oh, and that is the truth. But getting back then, to the Saints, because I want to know what do you have to do? I know D-Hop's back. That's awesome. I love it because I love watching him. Even what you call him, you say he's got like sickles for hands, which I love. You didn't even say that when you're talking about it. I thought that was going to come up. But what do the Cards have to do to win against the Saints tonight?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, they got to run the ball, soda pop. Offensively, you got to come out and you got to look like the offense of the first half of 2021 when DeAndre Hopkins was out there and James Conner was out there. And James Conner, of course, is a question mark going into tonight. They've got to run the ball. They've got to be balanced offensively. They got to get the ball out of their hands. Listen, Marshawn Lattimore is not going to play. He's been ruled out. That is the one guy. If there was a guy that could walk up over D-Hop and do a decent job, a good job on D-Hop, I think it would be Marshawn Lattimore. He's not going to play. And I realize there's a lot of people that are like, what are you talking about? DeAndre Hopkins hasn't played football in almost a year, and I understand that mentality, but this guy is incredibly talented. He understands football. He's a veteran. He's been around a long, long time. I don't expect to see anything. As a matter of fact, he isn't hurt, hasn't been hurt. This suspension, for the most part, he's got rested, fresh legs, if anything. I would say bad news for anybody that's going to walk up over DeAndre Hopkins and try to guard him.
Oh, hey, great point there. Absolutely. Well, I'm a big fan of D-Hop, so I'm hoping for some big things tonight. Now, Derek, let me ask you a question. When you go into the game Sunday night against the Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce Tua? The full name.
Oh, I always wait for Bill Hillgrove, who's the play-by-play guy. He'll say it, and I'll say, and I'll follow up and say, yeah, it's Tua and what Bill said.
I love saying it, guys. I love saying Tua's name, just Tunga by law, because I feel like if you could say Tunga by law, you could travel anywhere in the world, and somehow, some way, you could actually survive if you could just say Tua. Tunga by law.
Tua Tunga by law. There you go.
Very good. And Pony Boy, I'm not surprised by your line of thinking right there. So very good. But finish up, man. What do you got to do to beat the Dolphins? There's Sunday night. Can't wait for it. Looking forward to it.
They got to bring pressure. They've got the ability to pressure Tua, and it's going to be interesting. Right now, Kenny Pickett, he practiced today, and we'll see what's going to happen. He's got to get cleared by the doctors first. Either that or it'll be, Mitch Trubisky, who knows. But certainly, they're going to have to contain Tua. He was on a really excellent roll before he got hurt, the first time and the second time. the guy is a great competitor, and they've got the Dolphins team. The good thing about it's night. If you saw last week where the mini Vikes beat the Dolphins in Hard Rock Stadium, on the Dolphins side, it was 92 or so. But on the other side, where the Vikes were at, it was 122 degrees, which was a lot like in Phoenix back in the day at that stadium, that Tempe Stadium that we played at. And that, that's a big break for the Steelers to play this game at night rather than the heat and sweltering sun.
There's no doubt, because I can remember you had the old-time Steeler jersey on, and it was 120 degrees on the field. They showed it on the thing, and you guys were melting out there in the sun. The Buffalo Bills, to me, after the Kansas City Chiefs game, that Josh Allen and the Bills, number 1 in passing, number 2 in points scored for offense, defense, number 1 in scoring, and they are in the top 2 categories. They're number 1 in against the run, number 11 in passing, number 2 overall to San Francisco. I think the Buffalo Bills are the number 1 team in the NFL at this time of the season. Any thoughts? Bring them on.
The one thing I will say I was so impressed with, and I love this, Josh Allen took a picture with a young fan after the game. He ran over. It was his birthday, and this thing went viral. And I've always appreciated the players that take the time to pour a little life into another life. And all the greatness aside that Josh Allen is, because he's great, there's no doubt about it. This guy really has great talent and everything else. But for him to take a football over to this young fan who was, 10 or under, somewhere in that neighborhood, and then take a picture, a selfie after that game, which was just a marvelous performance by Josh Allen when he hurdled a defensive back. Just incredible. And then to do that and have the presence of mind, because he had cited the young man with a sign that said, "It's my birthday and I'm a Josh Allen fan. Will you take a picture with me?" And he ran across the field. What more can you say? That's amazing to me.
Yeah, Craig, I totally agree. Josh Allen, I hear so many stories. Lorenzo Alexander, of course, is a very good friend of the family and a very good friend of the show with Wolf and Luke, of course. And he tells me stories all the time about Josh Allen. And Lorenzo, of course, played for the Buffalo Bills a couple of years ago. And Josh Allen is beloved in that locker room by his teammates. Really a guy that rallies the troops better than anybody else. And, guys, as guys that have played football at a high level here, hey, listen, so much of the time you're going out there, just do your job. You know what I mean? Control what you can control, right. Do your job. Yet it's undeniable how a quarterback can impact his teammates and does on a regular basis.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to tell you, fellas, I want to thank you. As always, you are top dog professionals. Even Derry, you make up words. And C-Do and Pony Boy reaching out D-Hop with these guys, what is it, sickles, he said. That was the sickles out there for hands and reaching out in the desert sky. It's been quite entertaining, and really enjoyed your insight. And, of course, there's been nothing. We can't do double jeopardy there, Pony Boy. I can't do Derry again for the floral wallpaper. The camera was either going up or the backdrop was going down, but it kept getting bigger and bigger. What's going on?
It's amazing. You can't believe the technical difficulty. What are you going to do? It is what it is, fellas.
Hey, Craig, you know what? Give me the banjo.
There you go.
Wasn't bad there, Pony Boy. All right, fellas. Thank you so much. Hey, I love you guys. Have a great week. Let's go Cards. Let's go Steelers. Let's go Mountaineers.
Love you, brothers.
Love you, brothers.
Good job.